Hello, folks. My name is Ed Overstreet, and welcome to the Night Sky Imaging YouTube channel. I don't know where these boxes are coming from. Uh, Interesting. But at any rate, I am outside imaging the planet Jupiter and also the Flame Nebula. And this is an image that just came in on the Flame Nebula. I'll stretch it a little more for you so you can kind of see what it looks like. I also have an airplane that just flew through that image, so that's not good. And I see I've got the wrong microphone in play here, so I'm going to change that. So the sound, the sound should be changing. Should be changing. So, I am not sure. I'll be playing around with that. We go to. It's been so long since I have gone live. Forget how to use this streaming software. There we go. So now we're cooking, and I don't know how the volume is because, like most people, most normal people who do this, check everything before they go live. But I'm not normal, and so let's see. Let me double check the volume, my sound preferences, and let me see. Da, 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 da. Let me find it. Road, which is what we are. Input. Let's bring it up some. Now that should be peaking. It's probably too loud. So I think we're good to go. All right. I'm still going to land on our feet. But this is the Flame Nebula, and I am imaging. I'll show you the two telescopes in a minute, and I'll connect to the outside observation or surveillance camera, and you can see the two telescope systems that I'm using. But this is a wide field 336 millimeter view of IC 405, which is the Flame Nebula. I'm going to stretch this a little more. Let's put a high stretch on it, and you can see some of the goodies. It's rich in nebula, and I'm taking HA right now. Now I started imaging this on December the 19th, and this is the folder December 19th that I started saving the images with, and so far I already have some pretty good imaging time in this. So I have 80 hydrogen alpha pictures I've already taken. I'm going for 100 tonight. I'm going to change that. I'm going to up that because I have plenty of time. And then I want to get probably 80 of the O3 and 80 of the S2. There's not a lot of sulfur, or there's more sulfur than there is oxygen, but there's not a lot of oxygen in this image. But I'm going to pour it on and see what happens. It can influence the other, the hydrogen alpha, which is going to be mapped to the green channel. So, whereas you'll probably not see any O3, which kind of is a teal blue color, it will influence the green channel, and it'll influence the red channel too. So we're going to get it anyway. And then I'll take you over to Jupiter. I hope we still have Jupiter going. Let me switch over there. There we go. And this is a live view of Jupiter, and I am still imaging. I'm taking videos, and each video has 10,000 frames. I will stack all those individual frames in that video in order to get one image. And so 10,000 frames will be used to create a pretty detailed view of Jupiter. And this will be the last night that I'll image Jupiter until the fall, because right now, when it's around 6 o'clock and I can start imaging around 6, it's dark enough. Jupiter's not too far away from the meridian, and you have to do a meridian flip, and it just involves a lot of work that I don't want to do, because in order to process images prior to and after the meridian flip, you have to change the orientation of the images, and so I don't like to spend that much time in processing. But tonight I'm going to image past the meridian without flipping probably an hour, because what I want to get is the great red spot one last time. I'm going to bring up WinJuPost, this software, and in fact, I'll close this out. If you have WinJuPost installed, it's terrific software for derotating your images, because as you know, the sun rotates, the moon rotates, all the planets rotate, and Jupiter rotates about once every 9 hours and change, as does Saturn. But Jupiter has some distinctive markings, and that rotation, when you're imaging over a period of several minutes, will create an unsharp image. So the way you fix that is to derotate all the images and then stack them. And so WinJuPost is what does that. And but it also has some other tools, and one of them is the Ephemerades right here. And so this will give us a view of Jupiter as it is right now, because I'm going to click on real time. And as you can see, the great red spot is rotating into view. And if we go back to our image of Jupiter, we might be able to, yeah, it's right here. And it'll be more noticeable as Jupiter rotates. And also, if we go to our planetarium software, you're going to see where, and this is real time, let me kind of bring this back here. Jupiter is right here, and it's going to cross the meridian. What time? What time will it cross? Let's see if we have that info. At 7:46. So in 45 minutes, I'm down here reading this information. Culmination is at 1946 or 7:46. So it's going to cross the meridian, and I'm going to go another hour and a half past the meridian. So an hour and a half before and an hour and a half after, that's around 3 hours of total imaging time. And that will be just enough to get the entire transit of the great red spot. So what I want to do is see that great red spot as it rotates completely across the face of Jupiter. And then I'm going to stack each of those different groupings into one image, and then put them in a time lapse, and you'll be able to see, if it all works out, the rotation of the great red spot and Jupiter across the transit. And sometime before the night is over, and while I'm still live, I'll process one of these images to kind of see what we've got. So yay. Let's see here. I think I'm live. I'm not even positive I'm still live. I need to check this stuff. Okay, I don't need this anymore. Or do I? No. I want to close out some boxes. And hey, Corin, welcome from the UK. And hello, Kartik. I don't, if I'm not pronouncing your names right, then apologies. I'm still trying to say the names of my children and grandchildren. Got my children done. I'm trying to make sure I say the names of all my grandchildren right. Anyway, welcome, Happy New Year, guys. Oh, you're Barbados. You finally got down there, Corin. Hallelujah. And then you're coming to the States later this year for the eclipse, right? Is that still on? You got out of that nasty, cold, damp UK, and you're enjoying the tropics of Barbados. Good for you. I guess they're tropics. I know it's a lot warmer there than it is, uh, and not nearly as damp, I guess, unless you're all in a hurricane as it is in the UK. We have average scene tonight, and that's kind of what it looks like. I am going to go ahead and process one of these. Um, there's not much I can do with the other telescope. I will show you the two telescopes I'm using, though. I'm going to bring up the observation camera that I have outside that's kind of directed at my telescopes right now. And so these are the two kits that I'm using. The one on the left is a Smith Cassegrain, and I'm using a Uranus, Player One Uranus camera. Uh, and I also am guiding um, just because guiding has some positive and it has some negative features. The telescope tracks the planets really pretty well in sidereal, but you do have to babysit it. And so you kind of have to watch what's going on and nudge it here and there, but not much. If you guide, the guide camera will send instructions to nudge the mount for you. But sometimes those nudges are a bit too radical. And thank you for Autostakkert because it irons all that out. At the same time, I do leave it alone when I'm imaging with two kits. And I sometimes find myself having to spend a lot of time with the other kit. Maybe I'm running into an issue, and I'll head over to the other kit real quick and just double check and make sure it is okay. But sometimes I'm running into like guiding issues, or maybe it's shut down. Uh, I could be in different images in different parts of the sky, and clouds might be creating a problem. Um, but all kinds of things happen, as you well know, when you're doing this as a hobby, and with imperfect equipment. And all equipment is pretty much imperfect, but um, this is certainly not high-end equipment, and things happen. So when I find myself spending a lot of time here, I don't want to have to worry about Jupiter walking off the page and finding myself taking videos of the dark sky. That, that can't happen. So I'll go back out here and um, kind of show you what's going on. In fact, I'm going to turn the lights off uh, to the outside. This is an infrared light. So it doesn't affect, unless the telescope is aimed right at the camera. If it is, that's a problem anyway because it's aimed right at a fence. But if you can leave this light on at all times, it does drain battery power, and although I could run it for about 30 minutes before it really had any effect on the battery, and I don't ever keep it on that long. But I'm going to turn it off. So it helps to see the sky when I do, as you'll see in a minute. So I'm going to turn it off, close this out, and then I'm going to get my direction and kind of walk up to the sky and show you. We got a good clear sky. You can see some stars here. I'm not sure. Oh, this is Orion. This is the belt. So we're looking at Betelgeuse, and we're looking at Orion right here. And so pretty cool. And neighbor's house. Oh, and they've got their dog out next door because they've got their outside lights on, which is okay. None of that really bothers me or bothers my imaging. It's the total amount of light coming from all the houses and all the street lights and the city lights combined that muck up the sky. And we'll go over here to the side of the fence. See, when I'm imaging and I'm not live, sometimes I just turn on this outside camera and beam up here. We've got a lot of air traffic going through the sky, and I just sit here and watch the airplanes go back and forth. And now that's somebody that doesn't have anything to do, right? 84 degrees in Barbados. Okay, let's head back. Thank you, Corin, on Jupiter. Oh, I need to turn off my outside surveillance. We'll quit it. And let's process one of these. And I'm going to open up the first software that I use to process planets will be Autostakkert, and it will be Jupiter that will process. So let's go to the correct folder, and it's the 1st or the 4th of January. And let's pick one of these we just recently did. And let's grab, this one hasn't finished yet, so let's grab that one. That's the last completed one. We might see a little bit of the red spot. And let's see. I'm moving some windows around you can't see. That's part of my streaming software, so bear with me. Okay. Kind of go through, I'm scrubbing through the video to see if there's areas that are sharper than others. Just curious to see what I got here. I really don't see the great red spot. After I stack this, I might, but let me go back to WinGPost and see exactly where it is right now, too. Because, where are you, WinGPost? There it is. And so real time. Well, we should see it. So let's go ahead and process this. So we're going to analyze it first. These are my settings. Planets check. Dynamic background is checked. Laplace delta is checked. Robust noise is going to go back to 5. I'm going to analyze. I got auto sized. So now it's time to analyze. It's going to take it a few minutes because this is a very old and slow laptop. And what I have is right now I'm working on an iMac. I'm keyboard to an iMac inside my home, which is a good thing because it's in the 30s outside. And then outside, between those two telescopes that I just showed you, there's a platform, and there are 2 laptops, one for each kit. And I am connected to that kit, and this is what you're seeing through Wi-Fi. And so I can control, you're actually on I'm on an iMac, but I'm on a Windows machine only because I can connect to it through Wi-Fi. And I use a program called, right up here at the top left, Splash Top Business. And I'll scoot this aside. Well, that's the wrong. Let me go over to, I'll scoot this aside. Okay. So this is Splash Top Business, and these are the different computers that I have that I can connect to. This is Astro 2, what you're looking at here. Astro 1 has Jupiter, and this is a workstation. But this is very handy software. These are other computers that I use for. This is my big iMac. I got another one right behind me, iMac behind me, and that I use just for processing. It's got PixInsight and hard drives with just all the software that I use for processing. This one is just streamlined for imaging, email, those kind of things that I do every day. My imaging software and my music, uh, my music stuff, Ableton Live and Arturia and that kind of stuff, because I play around with music. So let's go back out and see. Oh, we're processing. Um, I'm going to move this back over and cover that up. I'm glad to stream live when I can. Um, when I'm when I can stream, I try to go live, and the only time that I won't go live if I know that I'm going to be threatened with clouds and I may not be able to get any really good imaging time in. When that happens, I just look at the spike. Let's bring up PhD. I don't know what. I'm not running a periodic error correction curve. One of the reasons is that I've already adjusted the clutches on the mount, and so I would need a new curve since the last time I had a curve. I've adjusted them, so I really need to run a new PEC curve, but I'm not going to fool with that tonight. So I really don't. We got some wind going on outside, and it's going to get worse throughout the night, so I'm told. And it's just kind of surprising that that's the only spike that I have if it is really windy, or if it's wind causing it. It might just be a cable. It doesn't take much. So scenes average. So the overall the guiding is at 0.37 right now. I'm not complaining. So let's go back out and check our software for Autostakkert first. And wrong, opened it up on the wrong computer. This is my, don't need it on this one. Let's go back to the other computer. Well, let's bring up that picture might not be any good with that spike, that image. All right, so we analyzed. So now what I want to do is I want to put some alignment points. And how many I use, I'll probably select for Jupiter, and it varies. I used 48 the last time, and that's what it's defaulting to. But I think I'm going to go down to, say, 32, and I'm going to try that, and I'm just going to automatically place this grid. I'm going to check close to edge. No, I'm going to uncheck close to edge because I'm going to have some movement, and so I want some of those alignment points to overlap if necessary, and be out here in deep space, because as I take these images, there may be some, they're not going to be perfectly in this one state, this position. As you go through all of these, if you do this real quick, you're going to see that Jupiter kind of moves. So I want these alignment points to have some overlapping. I'm going to use replace and multi-scale. You can put these on manually if you want by just clicking, but I'm going to clear that and just use automatic. So that's going to place the grid. I'm going to leave it at that. And I've got a quality graph that tells me that this graph crosses over this 50% line. By the way, this graph represents every frame that I took, and there's 10,000 down here in the bottom left. You'll see where it says 10,000. There are 10,000 frames from the far left to the far right. The first one that I took in the image and the last one. Some of them are better than 50%. Some of them are worse than 50%. Some of them are worse than 70, in the bottom 25%. Very few are in the top. Well, there's more in the top 25 than there are in the bottom. But since I have taken 10,000 frames, if I keep 25%, that's 2,500 frames. So 25% of them is what I'm going to take. Now, you don't have to take 25%. If you want to see, if you want to just run some numbers, you might say, well, I want to save 10%, 15%, 25%, and 50%. And what it'll do is it'll create 4 folders, a 10% folder, a 15% folder, and so forth. And so it will stack this image and deposit it in whatever folder it currently is on. And then you can compare which one of those is going to turn out the best image after you process it. I don't know if that makes any sense. I use percentages. You can use a fixed amount. You can say, I want to stack 2,500 frames, 3,000 frames, 5,000 frames. I usually just go with percentages. The only thing that I want to unclick sharpened, and you don't use RGB align, and I want to save in folders. The only other thing that I recommend doing is going up to color and make sure that you select force. It's going to default to auto detect, and I'm using a mono camera. Now if you're using a color camera, then just make sure you don't count on auto detect finding your barometrics. Find it out yourself and then select it. But I'm using a mono camera. I'm still going to say, I'm going to just click on force, barometrics, RGB. Pick any one of them, but pick one of them. You can pick any one, doesn't make any difference because you have a mono camera, but make sure you pick one. And what this will do, it will automatically convert your stacked image into an RGB image. So you don't have to do that when you bring it into Registax and you want to colorize it. So, by the way, this is a one-shot color. Here's a mono camera. So let me back up, and I'm going to leave RGB in place. I actually don't know what. I want to see if it auto detects it. If you have a mono camera, force RGB so they'll convert it. If you don't, then I'm not sure what the Uranus Player One camera is, what the barometric is. I'm going to try and see if auto works. If not, I can correct it. I can color correct it because I know what the colors are supposed to be in Registax, and I'll show you that in just a minute. We got to get there first. So I've got my align points, and all the align point means is that this box is 32. This box is 32 pixels by 32 pixels. If you select this preset of 104, then the boxes will be bigger. They'll be 104 pixels by 104 pixels, and so on. So the smaller the number, the smaller the boxes. Why is that important? One large box wouldn't get the detail. So you want to have boxes that are going to kind of resurrect the detail that is in the pixels. That detail is in these pixels. It doesn't look, it looks like a very fuzzy, blurry, pitiful image. But Autostakkert is going to resurrect the dead. So let's go ahead, hopefully. I don't want to do 10%. It'll take too long. And I don't want to do all these folders. If you have nothing else to do, I'm just going to go ahead and select, say, 35%, whatever. And I hardly ever select that high, but I am. And I'm going to go click on Stack. So Autostakkert's going to go to town. It's going to find a reference frame. It's going to do an alignment of all these images. Then it's going to stack it, run a map analysis, and then recombination. And when that's done, we'll open it up in Registax. So we're going to leave it for now because it's going to take a while, and it's going to take even a longer while because this laptop really dates back to the early biblical times. And we're going to close out WinJuPost. You clearly need to familiarize yourself with this software. And the only thing you really need to familiarize yourself with, the ephemerades under tools is very important. If you want to know what Saturn looks like, just go to the celestial body, click on Saturn, and then come over here to the ephemerades. Let's close this first, and come over to the ephemerades, and then it will bring up Saturn. And this is what Saturn looks like in real time right now, and you can see where the moons are. And if you want to know what's going to look like in an hour or two, you can advance this 10 minutes at a time. And I would advise you, when you are imaging the planets, and if there's a moon that's fairly close, it's a good idea to frame, to have your field of view to include one of the moons. Because when you run WinJuPost, you have to do an alignment, and having that moon out there is very helpful to do that alignment. Extremely helpful. I've done some videos on how to use WinJuPost to do derotation, and if you'll just kind of scrub down through the videos, I've done some very recently as well, and show you how to do that. It's not hard at all. It's daunting to look at this for the first time. It's overwhelming. In fact, it was so overwhelming to me, I just stopped. I didn't give it. I just thought I can't figure this out. Thankfully, a member of our astronomy group, Roper Mountain Astronomy, Josh Palmer, had mastered this, and all he needed to do was show me how to do it one time, and I got it. And that's all you would need to do, is see how it's done one time, and it's no big thing. But let's go ahead and bring it back. We want to make sure we've got Jupiter and real time. We're going to shut this out because it won't work until you do that. Bring up ephemerades again in real time. And so our great red spot is continuing to move. Let's see if we can see it. Yeah. Yeah. I got it now. It's not as far over as it looks like in the ephemerades, but yeah, we got it. I can already tell you Autostakkert isn't even close to being done. We're still in the stacking process, so we got a ways to go. While we're doing that, let me make sure we haven't, we've already finished this. I gotta see that I don't pay attention. So we finished this run, so I'm going to start a new capture, start capture. This is going to be our third image in this rotation. 10,000 frames. There'll be 7 taken in all. And I'm going to move this back towards the center. I'm going to go over to PhD, and guiding's good over here. I'm going to stop guiding. I'm going to come back I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to remove Jupiter, nudge it over. Let's see. I want to go west, I think. Yeah. Come on. No, I want to go east. Nope, I want to go west. And then we want to go south a little bit. Too much. It didn't take much. And we got to go west. I'm lost. All right. All right, got it centered. All right, let's go back to PhD. Let's resume looping. Let's find a star, and let's start guiding again. Yes, I know I need a new library. There's Jupiter, which isn't centered. I need to center my guide scope. By the way, this is a good way to make sure your guide scope is aligned with your main scope, and that's to pick a planet with your telescope, and then you can go outside and kind of make your adjustments to put this dead center. The more dead center it is, it does aid in your guiding. Okay, let's go back over to Autostakkert, and let's see where we are. We're still stacking now. We haven't left that, and that will take some time. This is going to take the longest. This will be a couple minutes. Map analysis isn't very long, and recombination is very quick, but stacking is There's 10,000 frames, of which 3,500 are going to be stacked precisely, one right on top of the other. So thank you, Emil Krykamp, who wrote this software. So let's move over to our other telescope setup. There's that spike again. Oh, what's going on? That may not be anything. That may be mechanical. I'll look at my logs when I'm done tomorrow sometime and see. I'll look at my logs and see see if this spike is happening every predictable turn of the worm, and if it is, then it isn't seen or wind. It's all mechanical, and I need to peck it out. I need to fix that with the peck curve and smooth that out. And I tell you, it's a science in and of itself to get guiding working right. And you have it working right one night, and you make no changes, and my telescopes stay up 365 days. Well, they stay up and yearly. I take them down and take them apart and clean them and grease them during the summer, but they stay up. And so I can just I throw 365 telegizmos over them to protect them, and I also have a patty umbrella that aids in kind of keeping the dew off of everything and the hot heat of the sun in the summer. But they do stay out, and so and they stay just as pristine as they would if they were in the house. Here comes that spike again. I think that's something mechanical, and it's a nasty spike. The only good thing I can say is that it's happening to a wide field camera, and I'll show you. I'm imaging the Flame Nebula, and right now, and here are some hydrogen alpha images that are coming in right now. This is a stretch. I can zoom in on this, and my stars are going to be okay. Let me zoom in here. Well, maybe they aren't. No, they show the effect of the spike. My image scale per pixel is 2.32, and anytime my guiding RMS is less than 2.32, my stars are usually round. But what happens is that when you're looking at your RMS, these two numbers need to be close, like 52, 63. That's good. But when you have an RA spike like I had, but the deck is doing well, then this number is maybe 2 times this value. And so that star is going to be oblong. When these numbers are close in size, now it's getting a little bit out of whack here, where the deck and the RA values just need to be close. They need to be very similar. You don't want a deck or an RA of, say, 1.9 and 0.5, or you're going to have oblong stars. It's even okay if this is like 1.2 and this is 1.1. You won't have elongated stars. They'll just be a little here. Look at these graces. Here's another spike, and that ran. So see, I have an RA now of 2.46 and a deck of 0.78. So that's how it changed that image. So those images are going to be difficult to work with. I may be wasting my time. And I don't, if I wasn't afraid of the cold, I would just go unlive and I'd go on out and see if I can't figure out what's going on. If it's not mechanical, it could be related to, I don't think it's cables. But it would be one thing I would check. And I don't think it's wind. I got a log viewer with PhD that I can bring it up and I can see if they're periodic. And I have a feeling they are, because it's happening about every image And that's about every, let's see, I'm taking 240-second images. So that's happening about every 4 minutes. And that's half a worm turn. So, yeah. So this is not good. Anyway, doesn't look bad at a distance, but when you start processing it, that's when you see the mess. All right, let's go back to Autostakkert and see if we're done. Do, 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 do. Oh, wrong Autostakkert. Wrong laptop. Now this auto. Okay, we finished. So let's also make sure. I'm going to close out Autostakkert. Don't need it right now. Let me also. Guiding's doing great over here. I don't think we have a wind problem. Or this would be a if you remember seeing the telescopes that I put the surveillance camera on, this is a huge telescope compared to the wide field. Wide field's short and compact refractor. This is the Smith-Cassegrain, which is huge. So if it was wind, that Smith-Cassegrain would be like a sail outside. I don't think it's that. I think it's just mechanical. And I need to take time and do a pet curve and fix that. All right. Let's see what I was doing. Oh, let's look at Jupiter real quick here. And you can see the Great Red Spot much better now. And let's see where we are. Oh, we're previewing. I got to pay attention when I'm doing. So let's get this thing going. And now let's try Registax. Registax is step 2 in processing. And so here we go. And we're going to go to, let's pull down this external hard drive. Oh, wrong date. We're in January. Still wrong date. That was Jupiter from last. This is, okay. There we go. Let's see, we were doing this. All right, here's our 30. See, we have a 35% folder. This is Autostakkert percentage 35. That's what this means. Had I checked all the boxes and put different percentages in, then you would have several folders. And in this, I have data file and I have a image file. You don't see the data file, you just see the image file. Let's try it again. Now I'll open. All right, and let's show the full image. And what I want to do is run RGB balance. And let's see what our color looks like. Okay, so. I'm going to do RGB combine. I do have a, oh, what do you call it? Oh, geez. Getting old, guys. You dial in the colors. It goes between your, I'll think of it in a minute. To help align for I have an atmospheric dispersion filter, but I didn't go out and level it. I just totally turned on the laptops, came inside, and so I'm going to have to run the RGB align and align these colors. So let me go ahead and do that. I shouldn't be off too much, but because it should be about where it was when I imaged Jupiter last, and I haven't changed anything, but it might be. I'm going to run it anyway, and so if I want to get rid of the blue on one side and red on one side, green on one side, blue on red on the other. uh, artifact that comes from atmospheric dispersion. So it takes a minute. It's at 93%, 98%. Okay. Well, it didn't have to make any corrections, so that's good. All right, let's see. I want to flip this because I don't like the orientation. And I know that I need to go to 330 degrees to get it the way I like it. So there's the tilt I want. And then normally I'll load a scheme that I've already saved. These are the save schemes that I use. But since Cartech is watching this processing, I'm just going to go ahead and for me, I typically just drag all these sliders to the right. Every single one of them. Then I'm going to raise sharpening to about 130. And I'm grabbing this top arrow up here. And I'm going to do the same right here. And this just comes just from knowing my equipment and the seeing conditions. And it varies with your equipment. But this is where I end up going. I changed those to 120. I changed everything else to 120. 130 on the top two, and then I run some denoise because it's getting noisy now. Understandably, I'm really banging it up with some pretty heavy sharpening. And a little more. Okay. Now down here where we have denoise, I'm going to bring this up to about 10. That's 2 clicks all the way up. Now I'm keeping my eye on Jupiter as I do this. The purpose of sharpening is to add clarity and reveal some of the detail. The purpose of noise is it's kind of counterintuitive, but it's to smooth things out, which kind of affects the detail. So it's like, where's that happy balance? And I don't know sometimes that I get it right, but I can always apply noise reduction selectively in Photoshop if I'm really impressed. If I'm really impressed with the data, I think, oh, this is really going to make a good Jupiter, and these aren't. But if I thought this was really going to make a good Jupiter time lapse, then I would spend some time in Photoshop really working on these. So I'm going to bring up, I might bring up the histogram, but I think I'm going to leave it alone. Just take up some gamma and drop the brightness down a little bit, and just going to drag this down a little tad. And so that's that. I may add just a little bit of saturation. I'll go up to color mixing. And the only thing I'm going to change here is just add just a tad of saturation. Go to 2. 2, 2, 2. Went too far. I'm at 4. Too much. I'm going to go back to 2. It's hard to do it too. Hard for me to do it. I'm at 1. See if that did it. Bingo. All right. And you can always add saturation later in GIMP, Photoshop, Lightroom, whatever post-processing software you might use. And so that would be my start for this image. Then I'd go up to Do All, and then I'd click Save. Now, I don't want to save this because I'm going to process all these later, and I won't remember all of these settings. So what I'm going to do when I process them, I'll bring them inside to process this stack on a much faster Windows machine. when I bring them inside, and I'll have to create my new settings, and I will save the settings so I can use the same settings on each image. But so I don't want to save this because I will not use it. I may end up doing something like this, but this would be my starting point. And yes, you can start to see the great red spot come into view right here. But when you do save it, if you're going to use WinJoPost, make sure you keep this name, because in this is information WinJoPost is going to read so that it will know the time this was taken. So make sure you don't screw this up by changing it to Jupiter 1 or something. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to put an underscore and I'm going to type REG, which just means that this image has been now processed in Registax. It's just for me to know that I've processed this image in Registax, and this will be my first image. So that's what I do. All right, we're going to close out of, are we? Yeah, we're going to close out of, that's kind of showing you what we're working with tonight. Is it worth, it's going to be worth it to me because again, I have some, I'm using an 8-inch Smith Cassegrain, and so I can't expect to, I really can't expect to get um, some of those high-end details that you get when you've got a 9.5 or a 14-inch Smith Cassegrain or a 14-inch Daub. We got a fellow, Josh Palmer, that introduced me to WinJoPost, has a 16-inch Daub, and he can manage that thing and take some magnificent images. But here is Jupiter. Let's zoom in and you can see the great red spot. So let's, yes, it's, you see it a lot better now. So let me, boop. There it is. That is the great red spot. Bingo. Mm. And Jupiter only looks like this because it's not color balanced. And when you color balance it, you turn the obvious white part, which is kind of yellowish, this is forced to be white, and then all the other colors kind of fall into place. You got to find the white point and the dark point, and color balance software in Registax does that. And as soon as you find the white and dark point, then you can color balance it. You don't need the midtone, just the white and the dark. The whitest pixel, the lightest pixel, and the darkest pixel. You can also find that in Photoshop real easy if you have to color balance these on your own. Okay, let's see. We're doing 10,000 frames. I don't know which one we're on in this. We ought to be getting close to the end of this series, though. And we're doing Jupiter 3. Let's bring up Jupiter 3 and see how many. Oh, no, we're not near done. We're taking 7. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got 3 more to go. You have the actual image file, and you have a text file that has all of your settings in it. You really don't need that. You can delete those if you want. That won't affect WinJoPost, but don't change the name of your image file. Do not change the name of your image file if and only if you plan to derotate your images. And I take 7 at a time. Why 7? Because 7 images, 7 videos converted to 7 TIFF files stack real nice into a and derotate really nicely. And so if I can take, I'm going to consider the fact that the last image that you saw, that I take 6 more just like that and I stack them together, I'll get rid of the noise then when I stack them or derotate them in WinJoPost. That noise will go away that you saw in that image without sacrificing the detail. So that's really the advantage of WinJoPost. It will line them up and line up your images, and when it does that, they'll become less noisy. You back with us, Kartek? Did you have to leave? I saw where you said hello. I got you out there. Let me close this window. And it's hard to believe that, it really is hard to believe that this bloody planet is right on us like this. Crazy. You can see it like we can see it. Yeah. Kartek, where are you from? You may have said, I didn't. Yeah, there you go. Where's your home? India. Wow. That's even as amazing to me that you can be watching this from India and we're both watching this planet Jupiter. This blows. I'm 78 years old. That still blows my mind. Or 79, 78. I'm old. How old am I? I have to ask my wife. I was born in 1945. So how old am I? '78, '79. Does it make a difference? I tell you, I feel like sometimes I'm 20. Sometimes I feel like I'm 90. So, wow. Crazy. Well, I'm glad you're on board. Let's go over and check and see what's going on with the other telescope. And I knew that. Bring up splash top. And there's my spike. See that over there? Yeah, something's going on. Normally I wait until the summertime before I tear into these Atlas Pro mounts and clean them. But this, I may have to, I don't know. This ain't gonna work. Look, I had an airplane fly through. See those dot, 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 dot. And as I told you, I can sit and watch the planes go by. But PixInsight will correct for that. If the image is otherwise okay, then PixInsight, nope, it isn't. See the star problems? So these stars have little star. It looks like another star. These, well, maybe that one does. Well, maybe it is maybe that are two stars. Maybe that was two stars. No, these, nah. There you go. We got star problems, and that's from that spike. So, oh well. The fun's in the doing it. It is. Let's see what the temperature is outside. It's 34 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's good. The dew point and the temperature are wow. There won't be any dew tonight. Great. That's great. Well, the wind in and of itself will keep some of that away, but whenever these two intersect, you can count on moisture forming on your outside equipment. I got dew heaters and dew straps on everything, there's just so much dew straps can do. They'll keep your front element dry or free of moisture and fogging up. They'll keep that from happening, but the rest of your gear gets wet, and I really don't like that. So I'll go outside and put the umbrella up just to keep that from happening. The big patio, I got a 9.5 foot, is that what it, 9.5 foot patio umbrella. It's gotten almost too big for me to handle, because I put it in and take it out every time I'm imaging. I'm looking this. I got a spike in my current too. My amperage is spiking, so I don't know what's going on with this kit. I'm gonna have to. These are my USB ports, and okay. My dew heaters haven't even come on. It's all been auto. I want A and B. No, wait a minute. It's not even turned on. Now they're on. So my dew heaters are on, but there's no need. There's just not going to be any dew. So they haven't even. I have a dew strap on the Smith on the. I have a dew strap on the guide camera, and this is the main refractor. This is the Stellarvue 70T refractor that I'm using for this Flame Nebula, and I have a dew strap on the guide camera, and that's the dew B heater. I just give it a name. That's what I call it: dew A, dew B. I don't have a dew C. I just have two dew straps, and I have it set automatically to turn it on, and it will when it starts looking at the dew point and the temperature, and monitoring what the time, when and if there's going to be dew. So one of the things about the Ultimate Power Boxes by Pegasus, Astro, they do a considerable amount of supervision of your kit, and as much as you want it to. So, all right, well, we can go back to. It provides a lot more information than there goes my spike. Interesting. Now I'll come back to. Sorry to drag you through this, but I'm going to go back to my power graphs and see if I got another. I don't. So that's it. Alright, so I don't have a power problem. That was a long shot anyway. What kind of amount are you using? You may be saying, oh, CG, you got a CM? Okay. Now I've taken the AVXs apart. They're a bit of a headache. I've got an AVX that I do my solar imaging on, and the Atlas Pros are pretty easy to work on. But they're the Atlas Pro are the same. It's the same thing as the the HEQ mounts, Skywatchers, and the HEQ 6 Pros. It's this. I have two of those mounts that these two telescopes are on right now, and then I use an AVX mount for the solar setup that I have outside. There's 3 telescopes outside. One for solar imaging, and the other 2 are for. Well, right now I had one for planetary and the other for deep space. But I'm about to take the planetary camera on. I'm gonna put a RASA on. I have an 8-inch RASA, and I'm gonna put that on with the one-shot color camera. And I think either that or a Vixen ED81S and another mono camera. I have two ASI 1600 cameras. This one is working right now on this setup, and I may put the other one. And I've got some new filters that I got, and so I may give those a go. New narrowband filters, same LRGB filters, but some new narrowband filters that I'm interested in checking out. Here's that spike again. Over here. Crazy. I bet I need to restart. See, I get to talking and get sidetracked, and I'll probably, let's go back over to my other, to Jupiter. Where are you, Jupiter? Yeah, we're previewing. All right, so what I want to do is I want to stop guiding, which is still going pretty good. And I'm going to come back here to Jupiter and my mount, and I'm going to, I forgot which way to go. I think it's east. Yeah. I'm going to recenter it. There's the great red spot now. It's in a healthy place for us to see it. Yay. And so let's go back out to our guide and let's start guiding. And let's check and see if we moved any. Nope. But I'll tell you what, I got a pretty bright histogram, and I notice I'm going to drop my histogram down some by dropping my gain down before I start this. I'm looking at my colors from my RGB, and I don't mind at all if they're down here around 25, about 25% of the way. I'm going to bring it up just a little more. Okay, say let's bring it up to 250. So well, I'll go up to 260 so we can see it. But that works. All right, so let's go up to our capture, and this will be our fourth image. Stack of 7, 10,000. So let's go. So we're off and running with these. We're capturing down here. Not a very high frame rate for this Uranus camera. I'm only at 57 frames per second, which is not very good. Excuse me. I hate doing this. Before I put these headsets on, I'm going to go get some more coffee. I'll be right back. Let's see. I used to have, let me, one second here. Show you how high tech I am. Look at there. Ha! hate wearing this headset. I hate those earbuds even more. In the wintertime, the headsets really aren't that bad. Oh, crap. I went all the way down there to get coffee and left it. Be right back. Well, found chocolate. I love chocolate. Jason, I just saw your question. I'll show you. Jason asked the question, what telescope gives a good image of Jupiter? And the reason why I repeat his question is that I'm on Facebook as well as YouTube. And Facebook can't see the YouTube questions. YouTube can't see the Facebook questions. So I'm going to bring up the outside cameras. The answer is Smith Cassegrain, 8-inch Smith Cassegrain. And let me turn on the outside lights, infrared lights. They don't bother, they don't pollute the sky or anything. And then let's move. Okay. Too far. Huh. Okay. This telescope right here is the Smith Cassegrain. It's an 8-inch. Let me go down a little bit further. This is a dew shield that's almost twice as long, and in fact the Smith Cassegrain stops right here. So it's, and then the dew shield is makes it look twice as big as it is. And this is the Stellarvue 70T. I'm using Orion guide scopes, and I'm using Lodestar SVXs for guide cameras on both of them. I like their pixel size. And then I have a towel thrown over the two laptops, and a laptop is connected to each of the telescopes, and then I'm in the house and using Wi-Fi to connect to the laptops. So you're seeing my laptops. If I was outside, the view that you see is the view on each of these laptops. And this is the umbrella, and you can't see it, but there's a stand down here, and I've got my power line. I use AC for everything. And need to bury the power line. I've had several people say they'll come out and do it for me, and I don't. I just have a drop card, and I have outside current on the house, and I just use that when I'm going live. But I don't use battery packs. So, and my home is right behind here, and this is kind of up on a hill, so it gives me a real advantage. It's really kind of a cool place for this platform to be set up. My homeowners association doesn't permit outbuildings. Well, they do now, but when we moved here, they didn't, and which is okay. What I've got working, these telegizmos, work just fine, and plus I have 3 setups. And this is my solar kit to the right; it's still covered up, and then I have 2 pier-mounted setups right here, and both of them are using the same mount. These are EQAZ mounts. They're Skywatcher mounts, HEQ6 mounts, and that's it. Kind of a consumer grade everything. None of it's cheap, but I mean, it's all relative, I guess. There's cheaper, and there is obviously a lot more costly. This is an Edge, a Celestron 8-inch Edge HD. So that's what that is. It's taken. It's a good optic. So I'm going to turn off the outside cameras, and we'll go back and just watch the transit of the Great Red Spot. Let's see where real time isn't quite right. Do I have the right data in here? Let me see. I'm wondering if I have. No. Okay, there's my problem. That's why we're not connected. So my latitude is 34, and my longitude is minus 82. Period. Come on. All right, let me shut it down. That's what it is. All right, let me close and open it back up again. And no. My longitude is minus 82. Now let's do real time. It's adjusting for it now. There we go. Well, it's not way over there. This thing's gone nuts. Let me close it out. And let me start it again. Real time. That's about right. So let's bring it up. My time is right. It's 8:21. So that's local time. UT is, well, that's exactly right. So our time's right. So let's see. Yeah, that's it. We're pretty close to being center. There's the Great Red Spot. And pretty cool. And let me show you how far past the meridian I am. So we crossed the meridian about 35 minutes ago, and I don't know how far past the meridian I'm going to go. I'm going to go further, but let me go out. I need to go out and look at my telescopes to make sure I'm not going to bang into anything. So before I do that, let me bring up Autostakkert. I've got too much going on. I'll look at this first. come on, come on. Yeah. I'm going to go back to, we're still capturing. I was afraid that it had already stopped. All right, now let's bring up our outside camera. And so, I can't tell. It looks like we're pretty safe right now. Yeah, we're okay for right now. There's my pier. These are moonlight focusers, by the way. And there is the atmospheric dispersion corrector. Oh, that's cool, Jason. Wow. That's cool. Yeah, for sure. There was no digital in the 70s. Wow. I'm going to guess that you're not that much younger than I am, Jason. I'm in my late 70s, and I would say you're probably in your late 60s. How close am I? Or mid 60s? I tell you something funny. The background music that you hear, I make it myself. So it's just synthesizer stuff, nothing fancy. YouTube flagged my one of my videos and said my music was copyrighted and that I needed to correct for it. I just took the video down. $54? Well, I guessed that wrong. We've got one more series. This is the last stack. Tell you what, we'll process another one now that we got the great red spot. Oh, I opened up the wrong software. Da. We don't need. I use Sequence Generator Pro for deep sky, but not for planetary. What's going on? Okay. Now let's bring up Autostakkert. You know, it's it. Jason said as a kid he remembered PBS, watching PBS and the Voyager probe progress. Uh, I really never had an interest in astronomy as a kid. Uh, I got a telescope for Christmas or for a birthday that was very, very, very low end. Probably a $5 telescope or $10 telescope back then, and one that you would get out of Sears, or because most of our toys came from catalogs, Sears catalogs, Montgomery Ward, stuff like that. So I got a telescope, and I looked at the moon or something through it, and it was so bad. The image was so bad. I was just never impressed with telescopes, ever. And I do a lot of photography. I did a lot of photography as a hobby, and then when I retired from financial planning in 2009, I had a telescope that my son had sent me during a surgery I had. I was recouping, and he sent me a telescope, the Vixen 81 EDS, and it sat for a long time before I ever took it out and opened it up and looked through it. And when I did, I was hooked. I had to figure out how. This was in 2009. I have got to figure out how to hook one of my cameras onto this. And there was no internet with detailed help for astrophotographers at that time. Not much. There were Forrest Tanaka had a channel that I gathered a lot of information from, and I do appreciate him for that. But there just wasn't much, and a few others I gathered information on processing from, but there just wasn't much. You had to figure it out yourself. So I did, and that was in 2009, and I've been imaging the night sky every opportunity that I can since then. If there's clear skies, I'm shooting something up. Okay, we're going to go to, I'm going to stop talking, and we're in 4, and let's pull this image, and we do have a great rest spot, so let's go ahead and analyze this. We'll come back. So this imaging session has just finished. I'm going to go ahead and start another one, and we're going to call this one 5. This will probably be the last one. I don't know if I'll go much further past the transit. I was hoping I was going to be able to image all the way with the great red spot going all the way across, but I won't be able to. My camera's going to get very, very close to my pier in the next 20 minutes or so, I'm guessing. Yep. Yeah, I've read a lot about analog photography, Jason, and how they did that with their plates. In fact, that's where the term plate solve came from. They would take their plates and hold it up to the sky and match the stars so that they could solve, where they were and where they were. Fascinating. Oh, I'm not in a coffee break. I better get rid of that. Y'all think I'm nuts. What's this? Watch how fancy I am. Let me see. There's the telescope I'm using now. I don't have the same, I clearly don't have the, well, it's not summertime, so my grass isn't green either. But I'm using a different camera altogether. I don't even know what that is. That's probably the ASI 240. So how'd I get rid of that? Hang on a minute. I've gotten too fancy. I was looking for something else and I saw that. Here are the 3 scopes that I'm using. I think that's right. This is the solar setup on the far left with the AVX mount. And then this is the Smith Cassegrain. But I got a filter wheel and a mono camera on it. I don't know what I'm imaging. And then this is the Stellarvue 60. Yeah, and they all use moonlight focus. I love the moonlight electronic focusers. Love them. They're terrific. Thank you, Jason. Or thank you, Cartech. Let's see. Get rid of that. Ah, there we go. As if you did not know. You know, I actually went to the trouble to make that graphic. I was just trying to be cinematic, I guess. Well, there might be people that don't know what it is, but they wouldn't be watching this unless they just stumbled into it. What's this? Oh, that was my eclipse shot that went in. That was back in 2000. Was it 2018, 19? I think it was. That went in 1,100 papers around the world. Long story. I do a lot of sports photography and freelance. I do it. I basically do it for one school. Um, do a lot of their photography and a large high school, Dorman High School. But I get asked from time to time for pictures from our paper, and I freelance submit those. And so they knew I did a lot of astrophotography. And when the eclipse came, they asked me if I was going to be taking the eclipse, and that if I was, they would like to have a picture. And so they, I think they pay you for them, and it's a lot of money too. So you want to do it. I think it was a grand total of $70 that I made for the eclipse picture. At any rate, a member of our photography club, Dr. Phil Essie, has a sister living in Buffalo, New York, I think it is. And she knew that he was in the Spartanburg Photography Guild. And so she saw in her newspaper my picture, and at the bottom it gave me credit, Ed Overstreet with the Spartanburg Photography Guild. So when she was talking to her brother, she said, "Aren't you in the photography guild?" I said, "Yes." "Do you know an Ed Overstreet?" And he said, "Oh yeah, he's my shooting buddy." And said, "Well, his eclipse picture is in our paper." So Phil called me, and he said, "Did you know that your picture made the Buffalo, New York newspaper?" And I said, "I had no idea." "You're kidding me." So he saved the paper for me, which I still have, because his sister gave it to him. And so I called the gentleman that I contacted at Spartanburg Herald Journal, and I said, "Alex, do you know my picture was in the Buffalo newspaper, New York newspaper?" And he said, "Not surprised." He said, "It was picked up on the wire, and as of right now, it was in over 1,100 papers." And I said, did we make any more money because of that? He said, you don't. I said, okay. No, you don't. So I don't really know how to interpret that. I think somebody did. Funny. Yes, it's been magnified 250 times. Oh, you're talking about the Smith Cassegrain? I've got it over here on. I'm at 200% on the zoom, so you're seeing this at zoom at 200%. But yeah, the Smith Cassegrain has I think it's 2024 millimeter focal length. So yeah, and then it has a 2.5 times Barlow. So I have a telemate. No, it's 2x telemate, uh, uh, telemate, powermate, uh, which is really a Barlow 2 times. So it's at 4,048 millimeters is what it's at. 4,048 millimeters focal length. And that's part of the reasons why. See, that's the disadvantage because in order to get a good view at an 8 inch with an 8 inch optic, I need it. I need to multiply that times 2. I've got a 4x power mate, but it's my frame rate's 8 frames a second, and what happens is you went from F10 to F20, and so you just have to sacrifice somewhere along the line. So I pray for good stacking, and I just end up with a pretty low frame rate. I'd much rather be up here around 120 frames per second. I'd have a much better image. Okay, let's go back to Autostakkert, and let's go ahead and place a grid, and I'm going to stay with 35%. Actually, I'm going to go down to 25%. This doesn't look as good as my last one. And let's go ahead and stack it. I better go over to my other telescope and see what's going on. Well, there's no spikes. Let's see how the guiding's going. We're at 0.76 total. 0.70. Okay, I can live with that. Let's go back to see where we are. All right, we finished taking the HA, and automatically it set up my O3 filter. So now I'm taking, oh, there's that spike I was just bragging on. It looked pretty good. Yeah, that's mechanical. So now we've got 4 hours imaging time left, and you know what? I messed up. I got a lot of night left, and we're not going to have any clouds. So I'm going to pause this. If I can, won't respond here. Well, okay, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to keep the current frame, but when this stops, I want to take some more HA. So I can't move it now, but as soon as this stops, I've got 80 seconds left in this image. And as soon as it stops, I'm going to change how this sequence is going to work. You'll know what I'm talking about in a minute. because I want some more. I'm going to add another let's see, it's 9 o'clock. Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to go up to 135 HA. I'm going to end up having about 135, 240 seconds, 140, 235, 240, 370, 380. I'm going to have about 370 images at 240 seconds. I want to have about 18 hours into this image, which is a gracious plenty. So we're down to 10 seconds. I got to figure out, gosh, I hate bringing that mount in and taking it apart during this time of year. I'm going to try a pet curve. Actually, I'm going to start running one now. I'm going to run a new pet curve just a minute. As soon as I get this done. See if we can fix that. Okay, we've paused. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this HA and I'm going to move this down to right underneath the O3. So now when it finishes this O3, it'll finish up this HA. So I want to resume. So right now it's still taking the O3, but as soon as it's done, it's going to go now and rotate to the HA, and I'll get my 100. This thing is just HA rich. There's very little O3, and there is some good S2 in it. I may go down to 130 and then run this up to say 80. All right, that's 7 hours. It's 9 o'clock, 10, 11, 12, 4, 5. It's going to be close because I need about an hour and a half of downtime. Wow. Yeah, we're going to try a pet curve, see if we can't. I'm not optimistic, but it's worth a try. So we're back imaging. Let's bring this up. And so we're going to record a new pec right here. And let me go over to, and wait a minute, we do have a pec curve. That's my problem. Oh, they're using, okay, well I got to get rid of that because I've moved my clutches and everything. Okay, this may get better without me doing anything. I don't know, so I'm going to get rid of this pec curve. And I won't record a new one tonight because I'll have to follow it. I don't want to pay that much attention to it. Okay, so now we're just running it sidereal. There is no pec curve. I think that's my problem. You know, it's one of those moments where you kind of hit yourself in the head because why didn't I even look at that? So I was running up. I'm going to guess that I don't have my spike anymore. That it was caused because of my pec curve that did not fit the worm gear. That makes sense. Because I had moved my clutches around since my last imaging time, which really makes the curve that you ran for, well, I guess it didn't have anything to do with it because there's that spike again. And I'm definitely not running the curve. All right, well, let's try a new curve. So we're going to open up tools, and so we're going to record. Actually, let's go over here and do it this way. And let's make sure we got 9 capture cycles. I don't need 9. I need, say, let's do 6 worm cycles is plenty. All right. That's good. All right, let's start recording. And so it's going to start capturing info, and you'll see my new curve showing up down here. But I can get a new curve, and then I can straighten that out, smooth that out, as soon as I find out where the problem is. But it's coming along down here. Okay. I'm going to kind of have to babysit this. All right, let's go back to, we're still capturing. Let's see what Autostakkert has done. It's about done with the stacking part. I told you it takes a long time. See you, Jason. I know you've already gone. I just saw your message, but glad to have you on board. I'm glad to be back imaging live. It's been a while. Okay, we're done. All right, let's bring up Registax. And let's select wrong one. We're at 25% this time. Let's say we're here. Nope. All right, we'll open up that image. I don't know why that's doing that, but I'm going to go ahead and bring up settings I routinely use for relatively bad scene. Okay, let's go to RGB color balance and let's run that. Let's see, let's rotate it to 330 degrees. And let's go ahead and do an RGB align, and I've got an atmospheric dispersion filter out there, but I haven't leveled it. I just didn't take the time, and so I'm lazy. So we'll see if it makes any corrections. It's working on it down here. That's the great red spot, folks. Thank you, Kartik. Okay, we're at 78, 80, almost there. Okay, still, my settings are still good from the last time. And I'm not going to do anything with that. But I just wanted to see what I had. We've got a, what moon is that? Let's go bring up, what moon? There, Europa. So that's Europa. Let's do real time. Okay, so we've got Europa out here. Actually, I'm going to put in exact 3192, and this is minus 8203. That is precise. So that's where the great red spot is right now. And yeah, so we've got Europa in this image. That's good because it really helps to have this when you're aligning your image to be derotated. Really helps to have something like a moon in your image. Makes all the difference. Okay, good. Good to know, good to know. We don't need windshield posts. We don't need Registax. No, we're not saving it. And there's our great red spot. And can't see the moon on this one. That's because I've zoomed in too much, but it's there. And I'm going to head back over to the other telescope. And there's my curve in the process of being made. We're about to finish the first worm cycle. 399 going for 2874. So it's going to take about 30 minutes to make this curve. Let's go back. I'm going to have to leave Jupiter because I am so far past the meridian, like right over here. This is the meridian. I started over here, that my camera is going to run into my pier if I'm not careful. So I'm going to go ahead and park the telescope. I'm going to stop guiding first so it won't start beeping at me. And let's go ahead and park it. And there it goes. Back to the other side, down here to the celestial North Pole. Yep, right where it's supposed to be, and we'll check that with our outside camera. So it's in the park position. This has got a ways to go before it flips, but it will flip automatically. And I don't know what time it flips. We'll go find out. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the mount. And we can go ahead and disconnect this equipment. Close down PhD, and we can also shut down the driver. Oh no, we can't because we're still connected, so we need to disconnect the camera and focuser, sharp cap. Now we can disconnect. Wrong. No, this is right. Disconnect. And we don't need Sequence Generator Pro. I'm going to turn the mount off, the focuser, the camera. I didn't have a fan. The two heaters have come on, by the way. So there must be, yeah, they're getting close. they're going to converge sometime tonight, so we may have some dew tonight. So I'll go back to power. So they're partially on. They're getting ready for some dew. And I am going to probably sign off because this is boring to watch. Although we're on our second run of the worm gear right now. The first one's the red, this will be a green, then it'll be red again. So we've made 2 turns of the worm gear. And I really won't be able to tell what's going on until it makes all 6 turns. And then it'll show a new graph up here. And I hope it fixes the guiding. If it does, that's going to save me a lot of headaches. But I'm not overly optimistic. It's just too much of an exaggerated spike, and there's only one spike. Other than that, the guiding's under 1.0. So the only way I could combat that would be to figure out how many seconds it takes it between spikes, and then only take images that are that long. You either have to take more of them in order to get the same amount of data, but you'll have to take more of them because there'll be some images you'll have to trash because they'll have a spike in them, but you will have some images that don't have the spike in them at all. Or bring your mounts in and take it apart, clean them and re-grease them. I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that. I'm not in the mood to do that. I'm in the mood to do that in the summertime, but not in the wintertime. Okay. So, folks, I'm going to say goodnight to you, and for those that have watched, thank you. And if you're an imager, or if you're like looking at the night sky, it's a great way to spend time in the evening with your family. And so there's some amazing things for all of us to see. Really, the glory of the good Lord is at work. But with all that being said, I want to say goodnight to everybody, and I hope everybody has there's that daggone spike, a happy new year.